Hidden beneath the Oya region of Japan is a remarkable secret, a sprawling network of underground caverns meticulously sculpted from the volcanic tuff called Oya Stone. Spanning thousands of square meters, this intricate network of tunnels was crafted without the aid of modern machinery. They crafted it centuries ago using only basic tools and unwavering resolve. But how is that possible? The size and quality of the work are astounding, especially considering the time period. Even with all the progress we've made in technology, it would be impossible to repeat such a feat. What other mysteries do you believe lie within these walls? What undiscovered or unexplored secrets lie beneath the stone? We have merely touched the surface of a vast and profound realm. Is there more to this story than what we know from history? As we delve deeper, we uncover more questions that compel us to unravel a mystery. It was first mined, but it became very strong over time, so it quickly became a standard for building churches. This stone was used to carve temples, shrines, and holy figures, combining faith with skill. The need for Oya stone grew over time, but it wasn't until the Edo era that it became very important. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan experienced a rare era of peace, allowing cities to expand like never before. As the city grew, it became essential to have strong, fire-resistant building materials. Fires were a constant threat, especially in Edo, modern-day Tokyo, where densely packed wooden structures turned even small blazes into city-wide disasters. Because it naturally doesn't catch fire, Oya stone became an important resource. People used it to construct fire-resistant walls, defenses, and even bridges. As mining methods got better, the stone could be taken out faster and in bigger amounts. As time went on, traditional chiseling techniques improved, making it possible for workers to carefully cut out large blocks. As demand grew, the shogunate stepped in and put in place strict rules to stop too much extraction and protect the quarry's life. These steps helped keep the building industry in check while also protecting resources for future generations. Still, Oya stone had more societal value. Europe loved limestone for its beauty and strength, but Japan used Oya stone spiritually. It was about making places that fit in with nature and history. By building tall monastery walls and elaborate Buddha figures, the stone became a link between the real world and the spiritual world. People have strong cultural ties to the land they build on, and the mine still tells a story of creativity and strength. Historical records indicate that the quarries of Oya stone began around 800 AD during the early Heian period. The Chinese Tang dynasty significantly influenced this period, characterized by government stability and artistic advancement. Initially, the local availability of Oya stone led to its widespread use in constructing the bases and lower parts of village homes. Being accessible made it a beneficial choice, but its amazing physical qualities made it stand out. When first cut, the stone was soft and easy to carve, allowing artists to create intricate patterns. But when it came in contact with air, it formed into a strong object that could stand up to the weather. This made it very useful for architects and builders who needed materials that were both easy to work with and would last a long time. In addition to being strong, Oya stone was also beautiful and useful. Oya stone's light gray to warm brown colors complement traditional Japanese buildings, ensuring its timeless beauty. Because it was porous, it was also a powerful insulator, keeping houses cool in the summer and warm in the winter. As Kyoto became the cultural and political center of Japan, the need for Oya stone increased quickly. Cities with lots of wooden buildings were always at risk of fire, and the stone's ability to fight fire made it very valuable. By the end of the Heian period, its use had expanded beyond small towns. It was in large churches, shrines, and even on private farms. It seems almost on purpose that it will last for a long time, like a time capsule meant to keep history alive. Ancient writings frequently mention Oya Stone in major government-funded projects, indicating its growing significance in Japan's building history. Quarries changed how they worked as demand grew. Things that started out as a small business grew into a more organized industry with more workers and better ways to mine. The quarry's growth not only affected the style of buildings of the time, but it was also crucial to the economy of the area, creating jobs and promoting growth. One intriguing idea says that the Oya Stone quarry may have had a direct connection to the royal family and wasn't just a place to get materials. Some historians think that the Japanese royalty built shrines and castles out of this stone on purpose to show that they were gods and had the divine right to rule. Many cultures from the past left behind buildings that show a time when people were very smart and powerful. The fact that the royal family used Oya Stone so often in their biggest projects suggests that they may have known more about its meaning than just building. The fact that Oya Stone is found in Japan's holiest and most important sites solidifies its place in history, whether it was a practical choice or a show of power. This underground complex is in Utsunomiya, Tochigi Prefecture, and it is a stunning mix of rock, human creativity, and even sound dynamics. However, the secrets hidden in the quarry's deep depths could transform our understanding of both ancient and contemporary events. The tunnels in the mine make a huge underground space that covers an amazing 20,000 square meters. They go as deep as 60 meters in some places, which is the height of a 20-story house. Over hundreds of years, they carved out this vast underground world. Every wall bears the marks of chisels and pickaxes, demonstrating the evolution of mining methods over time. As you go deeper into the mine, it seems less like a building that was built by people and more like a wild, lost land below the surface of Japan. In these rooms, old tools, mine objects, and structural supports are scattered around to remind us of the people who worked here and changed the environment one stone at a time. There is a natural story in the walls. They are full of mineral lines and changing colors that show different times in Earth's past. The sound effects in this underground tunnel might be even more engaging though. Because Oya Stone is porous, it takes in sound instead of returning it, making a space with almost no echo. People have said that this strange feature looks a lot like the underground cities of Cappadocia in Turkey. Both of those cities were made from volcanic rock, like Oya. The caves in Cappadocia were for safety and protection, but Oya's vast areas were used for industry, though some believe they were used for more than just resources. One strong idea says that these deep caves may have been used by the military, possibly as secret hiding places or ways to get around during battles. Japan has a history of using its natural settings as weapons, so it's not impossible that these underground rooms play a secret role in military strategy. Because they were deep and shaped like labyrinths, they would have been ideal for hiding things, safeguarding people, or even making escape paths. The dramatic, almost surreal atmosphere of the Oya Stone Quarry has caught the attention of the movie business in modern times. Many shows have used the enormous setting, and the huge fortress-like rooms leave you feeling both amazed and alone. Martin Scorsese used the quarry as a visual reference for the rough landscapes of Japan in his film Silence. Its similarity to the towering building dreamscapes in Inception is another thing that makes it appealing to filmmakers. Megalithic sites around the world keep giving us questions we haven't been able to fully answer. These sites prompt us to question whether there is more to these buildings than what is initially apparent. Also, whoever built these huge buildings knew exactly what they were doing. Accurately moving 20-ton megaliths into place doesn't happen by accident, and it's not something that newbies should try. No, this kind of building suggests deep-seated knowledge, like a custom that has been passed down from generation to generation. Still, the dates that most megalithic sites are given seem questionable. It's possible that we have been viewing data incorrectly. Korea, a country with a lot of history and culture, is home to one of the most intriguing secrets. Its hills, rivers and fields are home to thousands of huge stone structures called dolmens. These are silent, unmoving reminders of a long time ago. The official narrative suggests that the rich and powerful buried themselves beneath these massive stones. But is there more to the story? Some people think they hold the memories of a very advanced ancient society, or even the remains of a time when giants walked the earth. Archaeologists continue to unravel this enigma, implying that we have only begun to graze the surface of a vast and profound realm. Korean dolmens have been the subject of stories for hundreds of years. The old people who lived in the area saw these huge stones as more than just graves. They saw them as holy and linked to forces that humans can't understand. There are stories about giants who formed the land and tales about gods who used these buildings to send energy or mark the sky. In contrast to many other parts of the world, Koreans never really discovered their dolmens. These huge stone structures have always been there and are part of their culture. Many old cultures around the world kept hazy but lasting memories of a high society that lived a long time before written history. This idea is similar to those stories. The first official records of these buildings didn't come out until the early 1900s, when Japan ruled Korea through occupation. Japanese researchers first mapped the dolmens and attempted to determine their purpose. Their study gave us useful information, but it was also part of a bigger plan to control and change Korea's past. It took South Korea a long time to recover and protect its history after the Korean War. This is what sparked new interest in the dolmens. Around the end of the 20th century, Korean archaeologists started using brand new methods to learn more about these old buildings. New information about how these megaliths were built and what they might have done was found through radiocarbon dating, 3D scanning, and satellite mapping. One major problem still exists, though. Carbon dating can only tell you how old biological things are, not the stone itself. So, we can figure out how old things found near or inside the dolmens are, but we still don't know how old the stones themselves are. It's possible that they are a lot older than we think. Several Korean dolmen sites were named UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the early 2000s, which made the importance of these structures known around the world. This wasn't just an academic success, it was also a confirmation of their historical worth, making the rest of the world realize how big and complex Korea's megalithic culture really is. What about these stones, though? Do they tell the whole story, or are they just the start of a much bigger mystery? In addition to talking about the amazing history of Korea's old dolmens, we will now talk about the amazing engineering feats that went into building them. In addition to working with huge stones that sometimes weighed more than a few tons, these ancient builders had to move and place them with exceptional accuracy. If they didn't have modern tools, how did they finish such a huge job? Their clever solutions are a pleasing look into how well people in old societies were able to solve problems. It wasn't simple to move these huge stones over long distances. Some researchers think that the builders used a method called log rolling, in which big wooden logs were put under the stone to make it easier to roll forward. The friction was cut down a lot with this method, which allowed organized groups of people or maybe even animals to move the stones over long stretches of rough ground. It's fascinating that this method seems to have been used in other parts of the world as well, like at Stonehenge in England and the strange Moai figures on Easter Island. The similarities between these megalithic sites suggest that different ancient cultures may have used or created similar building methods on their own. This suggests that there may have been a deeper link in their knowledge. Once the huge stones got to where they were supposed to go, the next task was to carefully move and lift them. Many people think that the builders built big earth ramps out of packed dirt and smaller stones to slowly move the megaliths into place. It's possible that wooden handles and support frames were also crucial for moving the stones. They gave a technical edge that let small groups of workers do something that at first glance would seem impossible. These techniques demonstrate not only immense strength, but also a profound understanding of physics, the distribution of weight, and teamwork. This is a huge accomplishment for a society that lived thousands of years ago. The choice of stone was another important part of making sure that these buildings would last for a long time. Granite, a tough rock that doesn't easily wear away, made up many of the dolmens. This shows that the builders were very picky about the stones they used, knowing that harder ones would last longer. It wasn't straightforward to get these stones out of the ground and shape them. In the past, people probably used harder stone tools, and later, maybe even early metal tools, to carefully cut and split huge rock formations. Carefully removing big whole blocks requires exceptionally high levels of planning and skill. What do you think? Tell us in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.